r/ask Reddit. What is the best loophole you have ever heard of? Was at a bar. They ran a $2 shot special for any of the house stuff. I like vodka tonics yo. However, those are $6. Me, having taken algebra I twice, knew $2 less than $6. I ask the bartender how much she'll charge me for tonic water. She replies, nothing. I proceed to order a $2 shot of vodka and a free glass of tonic water. Having taken algebra twice killed me. Thanks for the laugh. I thought it was a state requirement to take it 2 times. A kid from my high school was about 30 seconds late to class and the teacher refused to mark him present and made him go sign in as late at the office. In protest, he went and ate a sit-down breakfast and showed back up with about 5 minutes left of class with his late slip. Teacher threw a fit that he skipped class, but since he never signed in, he didn't face any consequences. I worked at a job that had a 1 minute late policy that basically said 1 minute late or 2 hours late you are just as late. I can't tell you how many times I stopped for breakfast and just hung out before going in super late. My high school had the same punishment for skipping one class as skipping a whole day. My first period teacher didn't believe in letting kids show up late. She locked her door when class started and wouldn't let you in. If you were late for first period there was no reason to show up to school that day. A man in China purchased a first-class plane ticket and used it to eat a year's worth of free meals at the VIP lounge at Xi'an International Airport. The frequent diner purchased a first-class, fully refundable ticket aboard Eastern China Airline. He used the ticket to gain access to the airport's VIP lounge, where high-rolling travelers dine for free. According to a report last week in the Chinese language newspaper Guanghua Yitpo in Malaysia, the man rebooked his first-class ticket over and over again and kept the gravy train rolling. Eastern China Airlines officials only recently figured out the man's scheme after noticing his single ticket being rebooked 300 times over 1 year. According to the newspaper report, airline officials admitted there was nothing they could do to stop the frequent diner. A spokeswoman for the carrier called the man's free meal scheme a rare act. Still, Eastern China Airlines officials confronted him, and the human meal ticket stopped chowing down. The freeloader ended up cashing in his fully refundable ticket and getting back all his money. https://www.nipost.com The 29th of January 2014 man uses first class plane ticket to eat free for a year / that I can admire. It's nice when people stick it to the man when the man is a premium lounge airline. For appointments that cost money to cancel with less than 24 hours notice, they often are free to reschedule within that window. So you reschedule it to a week later, then cancel it a day or 2 later. Similar to returns. I work in retail and if the item is outside of the return policy, but still resellable, we will let you exchange it for an item of equal or greater value. What some smart customers do instead of bitch about it, is say okay, buy random items that equal around that price, come back the next day, return them, and get their money back. We didn't give money back to customers for exchange receipts even if the original receipt was still in the return period. An exchange was a terminal transaction. I worked at 4 different retail stores for different companies and this was always the policy. The only exception is one store would give store credit for an exchange receipt. A good shot but not eventually a real loophole was the drink Pepsi, Get a Harrier Jet guy. In 1996, Pepsi ran a promotion where you could collect points by buying Pepsi products. The more points you got, the more stuff you could get, such as t-shirts, free Pepsi, sunglasses, etc. They also had a commercial where they advertised a Harrier Jet for 7 million points. One guy read the rules of the promotion and found that you could buy points for $0. 10. That means to get 7 million points you'd have to pay $700. 000. The going cost for a Harrier at the time was about $20 million or so. So, one guy raised the money, bought the points and demanded the jet. When Pepsi refused he sued them. He lost, but it was a good try. This sounds like the McDonald's Monopoly promo loophole. I don't remember the exact story but some guy realized there was no purchase necessary to obtain game pieces. All you had to do was send a letter in requesting pieces and they would send you 10 of them or something. So, the only cost for 10 pieces was a postage stamp. The pieces you got was random though. I had a friend that did this. He rented a UPS drop box in New Hampshire, I believe it was, since in that state it is illegal for them to require you to send an SASE with your request. He sent in 5k letters and got back 10k game pieces. Mind you, this was in 2004 to 2005 when McDonald's was running their Monopoly game in tandem with Best Buy. So each game piece had $2 in Best Buy rewards on them. He got $20k worth of Best Buy bucks to spend. He spent them all on iPods, which he was able to easily resell for close to retail value. His total investment was like $2,500 in envelopes and postage, and the UPS drop box, and he pocketed like $17k from the iPods. When the US government issued the Sacagawea dollar coin, they wanted to get them into circulation as quickly as possible so they'd catch on. Narrator, they didn't, so they had a thing where you could order them and have them shipped to you for free. People realized you could pay for the coins using one of those credit cards that gives you frequent flyer miles as a reward. So you order $1,000 of coins, put it on the card, get the coins, deposit them into your bank, pay off the credit card. You've just gotten 100% free frequent flyer miles. A friend of mine's uncle once used one of those no interest credit card promos to buy I-bonds back when the Fed still let you do that. Max out the new card. Make the minimum payments every month until the last month. When you cash out the bonds and pay off the card in full while you keep the interest payments on the bonds. My dad's old co-worker did this. I think the limit was higher than $1,000 though. I feel like it was $5,000 but I could be wrong. He did it a few times until they stopped the program due to everyone using that loophole. He took his family on a really nice vacation all first class. I used to work in a call center doing tech support for a dial-up ISP. The 10-hour plan was $9.99 and then there were various tiers including an unlimited plan for $50 or something like that. I ended up moving to a different city and called up the call center to set up internet and I asked for the 10-hour plan. The guy, who didn't know I used to work there, tried to talk me into a bigger plan, but I stuck with the 10-hour plan. Why? Because the company had no system for monitoring usage. You could use as much data as you wanted and it was all the same to them. There was no tracking system in place. I love it. Oftentimes there is no tech to enforce a policy or marketing. So they just trusted you to turn off the internet after 10 hours. In West Virginia there was a law that waived taxes for automobile title transfers between parents and children. A friend wanted to buy a car from his uncle, so the uncle sold the car to his father who then sold it to his other son who sold it to his own son. My friend. 3 transactions. 0 taxes. I mean you could have just done what the rest of us civilized humans do and buy the car for $1 and only have to pay taxes on that $1 car. Crazy how cheap people are constantly selling their cars. When Uncle Clarence said, "The government won't get 1 penny of taxes from me," he meant it. In Ireland a Romanian man got caught drink driving. Got thrown out of court because he was never given a copy of his charge in Irish. My fiance is Irish. I love how crazy they are about making sure the Irish language is preserved. Well, it makes sense that they do, considering that the English spent hundreds of years literally beating the language out of them. NY State had a glitch in their motor vehicle system for a while. If you got a moving violation, you would plead guilty and overpay it by $5. They would send you back a check for $5, but you don't cash it. They would not apply points to your license until the case was fully adjudicated. If you waited until a year passed and then cashed it, those points would roll off, so you would never actually have any points showing on your license. It amazes me how people are able to find these kind of loopholes. It's almost always people working there. A clerk sees hundreds of tickets paid a week. All it takes is one getting overpaid and the clerk sees a points pending status. The clerk then gets a thought of what if they never cash the check, and a loophole is born. To my knowledge this is also how most hacking works. Let's race to that pole. Last one to touch it is gay. If you never touch the pole, then you can't be gay. Play your cards right and you can be the only non-gay kid in the neighborhood. You can't be gay if you never touch the pole. Makes sense. What if you lick it? Just a little bit. Asking for a friend. We used to run a ticket scam operation at the local Chuck E. Cheese. We started small time. We used to cheat at the games like skee ball while traffic was low and it was off times. After a few times of pulling that heist, we decided to cool it because we thought it might be suspicious that we'd earned the mega bonus ticket payout regularly. We did similar things with other games but nothing paid out like skee ball. That's when my buddy found out the big one. I'm not sure if it's like this now. Back then they used to weigh the tickets at the front in a bowl on a scale, but then they replaced them with these new machines. These machines you would feed tickets into. It would count the tickets and then present you with a slip listing how many tickets it was worth that I could redeem. Turns out if you were delicate and had enough finesse, you could pull the strip of tickets out and then feed them back in. It would count the tickets over and over again, even though they had unique serial numbers. Boom. Infinite tickets. The ticket counters were in the corner of place by the front, near the registers, but a few were kind of hidden away from plain sight. We would have 2 people stand guard while my buddy worked his magic. If staff came by we'd signal him and he'd feed the tickets in like normal. Instead of having a bunch of really large tickets, we'd make some moderately sized ones mixed with some big ones and spread them out a bit. I think they had dates printed on them. We got it all. The glowing disco ball, the special edition Barbie for my friend's girl, candy, spray foam, the sticky hands. We never got the crazy big items like the bike because we thought it'd be too suspicious. I think we could even redeem them for pizza, which we would do when we were hungry. We never got found out, but we eventually cooled it because it was only a matter of time. It was like Ocean's 11 but instead it was like Chucky's 4. More of a straight up hustle than a loophole. Good memories. I think you'll appreciate this story more than most. There's a place near me that's like that. Games for tickets. Tickets for prizes. Most of the games give out between 5 and 30 tickets, because they are based mostly on luck. But there's one that gives out between 0 and 100 tickets, because it's based on skill. Supposedly, the game works like this. There's a giant oval with a light that travels around it. The light represents a skip rope. When the light gets to the bottom, you're supposed to jump to avoid it. The longer you play, the faster it goes, until it's literally too fast to avoid. Average win is 20 tickets or so. I did it once and failed miserably, but then I wondered, how does it know I jumped? I look around and see no lasers, so I assume it's a pressure plate on the gamepad. I do some testing and that's it. Well, there's no way for that pressure plate to distinguish between a jump and a tap, so I'd start up the game, kneel down, and just slap the pressure plate with my hand whenever the light got close. That is a lot easier to do than jumping. I was able to rack up 1,000 tickets in no time and bought some baller stuff for my friend's birthday. Open bracket. We were there for her party. That's like the old power pad for Nintendo. When you do the long jump in track and field, just hop off the mat for a bit, then hop back on. You just jumped 6 miles. Company cafeteria had an option to order a half burrito. However, the cost of 2 half burritos was less than the cost of 1 full burrito. On top of that, the chef would make a half burrito by cutting a new tortilla in half and generally gave a healthier portion than just a half. Thus, ordering 2 half burritos was equivalent to about 1.5 full burritos and cost less than a full burrito. Someone figured out something similar at Chipotle. If you ask for half brown rice, half white rice and then half black beans, half pinto beans and same with meats, you typically get way more than half a serving each, because the servers there weren't good at scooping up exactly half a serving of something. I used to work at a Chipotle. Double rice and beans are free. Edit. Like I said, I don't work there anymore. If you have questions about that crap restaurant, call them yourself. My microwave stopped turning on, so I went to Best Buy to get a new one. I tried the old one in another outlet and it came back to life, so I reinstalled it. Returned new microwave to Best Buy. Went back home to see that the old microwave had now died again once more. For good. And then just drove right back to Best Buy where I bought the brand new microwave I just returned as an open box item for half price. Probably a fluke, but it was a rare instance of the system working in my favor. Edit. L did this on accident, not as a scam. Just for clarification, not that I complained. I bought a can of paint at a hardware store. When I got home and opened it, the colors were sitting separate on top. I took it back, They ran it through the mixer again, but same result. They made me a fresh can. I went home. It looked the same, so I just mixed it in with the paintbrush and the paint was fine. I went back a couple days later and bought the original bad can for like $3 from the reject pile. A lot of stores will add a bit of tint to returned paints to avoid people who do this on purpose. Went to a private school where the teachers were real power hungry shitheads. You could get in trouble for having your shirt untucked, and some would be real ass bags about it, literally crouched down and scooting along the benches at lunchtime. Even at lunch, if it popped out while sitting, you could get in trouble. I ran through the school handbook and it said sweaters with the school emblem can be worn at any time. So I bought one 3 sizes too big and wore it constantly. It went down to almost my knees and I would happily announce that I wasn't even wearing the uniform shirt, let alone tucking it in. The ass teachers got pissed off and took it to the school dean, but I was right and it was allowed. Like half the school switched to sweaters after that. Oh, ducking shirt tail wars in hotty-totty schools. Man, that is like the dumbest fight every stuffy, wannabe elitist school in the USA wants to have with its students. It's like the admins and teachers want to be engaged in the ultimate stupid pissing contest with a bunch of teenagers. Hell, I remember one time I was in school, and I was standing at a lunch table to talk to some friends. I guess my shirt tail came out at some point in the fracas alva starting lunch period, and I felt something cold on my back. It was a teacher's hands. She was just tucking my shirt tail in. If it had happened in a public school, instead of a batchet Christian one where parents just support the fake teachers no matter what, I'd have a trust fund from the fallout of that incident. And, of course, because school staff was so batshit about it, the kids, and, to be fair, most of the kids in my school were overprivileged, sheltered shitheads who were too unfamiliar with words and phrases like because you have to, don't, rules are rules, and no to do their parents much credit, would snark back at them by intentionally running around with untucked shirts. That is what happens when you start a pissing contest with high schoolers. They also had a rule against white socks, because setting yourself up to have a war of attrition with teenage kids over dumb and arbitrary inane things is a brilliant move. The real secret to it, most of the staff don't actually care nearly as much as they act like they do. The whole uniform battle is contrived to provide something harmlessly petty to occupy the focus of any rebelliousness and to give any maliciously authoritarian staff that actually do care something equally stupid to fixate on. I struggled with upper level mathematics in high school. In my junior year, I was barely passing pre-calculus, so I was looking for a way to get out of taking calculus, while still making it look like I took 4 years of math, which my advisor insisted was something I needed to do for college. So I went through the court list and found out accounting was technically classified as a math class, rather than an elective. I took accounting 1 as my math my senior year, and actually learned things I would use, like how to write a check and balance a budget. Unfortunately, my high school caught onto the trick, and the advisors made them change accounting to an elective. My poor little brother had the loophole closed on him, I took a logic class in college as a math credit. I don't know why it was classified as math, but it was, and I loved it. Math is rooted in formal logic. There was a promotion a bunch of years back where Hoover included a plane ticket to select destinations around the world, from Europe. With any purchase of one of their products over $100, people could buy a vacuum that was like $109 and get a $600 plane ticket for it. Hoover ended up having to have people work crazy overtime to fulfill the demand for the cheapest model, and eventually they stopped honoring the promotion, which caused the people who hadn't collected on it yet to sue them. The company made $30 million from the promotion and lost $50 million in plane tickets and legal fees. That's not a loophole, just dumb F marketing. LPT, never offer a gift with purchase that costs more than the purchase. Apparently you have 24 hours to claim an illegally parked car, depending on the location. In my city, so some pros will take a ticket on game days and actually save money on parking for football and baseball. When I was in grad school, it cost me about $400 a year to park. Alternatively, I could park at a beta right next to the university parking lot, not pay, and get an $11 ticket from the Metro Police. Pretty sure I got ticketed about 4 or 5 times total. Saved me hundreds of dollars that year. I could pay $400 for parking, or give $50 to the mosque and they let me park there for 6 months. I gave them $100 for 6 months just to feel like less of a scumbag. In Sydney, Australia, we have the Opal card system for public transport. You load up the card with monies and tap it when you get on and off public transport. Now these days, per week you get a discount on all your trips after your 8th. Well, that was brought in after people exploited the previous rule. After 8 trips, all trips were free, so people would ride the buses to and from stops, tapping away, leaving enough time between each tap for it to register as an individual trip, and after a few hours of venturing the city and tapping, they then had the rest of their weekly travel for free. The news did a piece of everyone doing it, and soon after the new rule came in the Mayo. Duck Sydney's train system. Why does it cost so much to go from the airport to Central Station? It's literally like 2 stops. If you're in the UK, there's an insurance comparison company called Compare the Market. The way they set themselves apart, because really, they're all basically the same, is by having an actually really kind of good set of reward schemes called Meerkat Movies and Meerkat Meals respectively. For the former, you can get 2-for-1 cinema tickets on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. For the latter, you can get 2-for-1 food at a fair number of restaurants. Sunday to Thursday, you get a year's worth of access to both programs whenever you buy insurance through them. Fortunately, it's any kind of insurance that works. 1 day's worth of travel insurance for a UK-based trip will set you back about £1.50, which means that you're almost certainly going to save money by getting it as long as you use the program once in that year. I'm pretty sure it's not how they intended it to be used, but I've saved a fortune and still ended up getting my actual insurance with someone else. Pro tip, you don't even have to buy the insurance. If you click to purchase it, it will register on your Compare the Market account that you've gone to the affiliated link. Then go back to CTM, click Get Rewards, type in the name of the company you purchased from. You'll receive the reward. No purchase is actually necessary. You just have to click it. Hope this made sense. Well, you blokes just ruined a good loophole yet. After this they will definitely fix this. In 2014 a loophole was discovered in Ireland so that Class A drugs were legal. Took a week for the government to criminalize it again. The state of Rhode Island accidentally legalized prostitution, and the loophole lasted for years. I am the lucky beneficiary of a loophole. Back in the 1960s, a school district in my hometown was broken up and absorbed into the surrounding districts. Fast forward to 2003, I'm applying to colleges. I discovered that there was a scholarship fund for people living in that old district's area. Like me, the district is gone, but the scholarship still exists. I applied and got the scholarship. I don't think there were any other applicants. You can be as high as you want as long as you're not in possession. Can you hold my joint while I light it? Sure. Bro, I'm a cop. You're under arrest. That's blatant enough entrapment that the DA might drop charges after trying to force you into a plea deal. When I was young, 12 I received a free chicken sandwich coupon for Chick-fil-A that I got from a contest at school. There was no fine print on it, no EXP date, no one per customer, no nothing. So I used my dad's photocopier at home and made a duck ton of copies. Talking like 100 copies. Every week my mom would drive me to Chick-fil-A, wait in the car. I think she was embarrassed but didn't want to suppress my enthusiasm. I'd go inside and walk out with a couple free sandwiches. Did it for like a year before we moved away. Pretty sure the high school employees just took pity on a 12-year and honestly didn't care enough to say no. I work in marketing now and fine print is one of the things I proofread 3 times before approving. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.